So I could show you guys all kinds of maps and up-to-date information, but I believe you are capable of finding that on your own. It, to me, looks like there's one major interesting flashpoint as of today, which is that the EU is debating protecting shipping convoys from Odessa through the Black Sea. And like in any long-term war, every day has a new update and every day has a new threat. But you are thinking still in terms of maintaining normality. We've seen prices rise by about 10 to 20%, but there's no shortages yet. There's also very little to no hoarding, and there's general calm. But everybody notices that the military is doing its thing. Nobody pays attention to it anymore. There's constant news updates of large shipments of weapons to somebody somewhere. So the war is ongoing, but nobody pays it mind. We know it is in the background there. So that's about it. Personally, I've noticed that the drug trade is booming, as is very often the common case during war. So criminals and other outcasts are going to be doing well. Drug trade is going to be doing very well because people need illicit medicines, the building cabinets of painkillers and antiseptics and stuff like that. So, and for moral reasons, people like to maintain their state of inebriation through conflict. They do not like to be bothered during conflict, so they would rather be sniffing on the cocaine during the war or something similar. They like to speed through it. You cannot expect a best performance during war because that gets you killed. Everybody is sticking to a large herd, and opinions are polarizing strongly, and discussion even amongst Finns of both red and white backgrounds is very polarized. It is very hard. People are completely sidestepping any bad behavior the West has done in the past 50 years because we're now at war. If you mention that you are, for example, a conscientious objector that got imprisoned by the state legally and don't feel like you ought to take up a gun and shoot somebody for the state, they'll probably threaten you. So, like I've said, the situation is interesting. What I am looking at is some level of probability of nuclear conflict. But more alarmingly, this kind of situation is, let me put it like this: nuclear conflict would be for a normal person disintegrating into all your side personas and fighting amongst yourselves as to get to an outcome and then returning. That would be nuclear conflict. But the conventional your group versus another group type of warfare seems to be slowly developing towards all out war. It's taking months or years from the spark, but it will most likely proceed to all out war. Now, the East will say, with good cause, that the West had essentially the NVO agenda. I'm not even going to discuss what that is and why. And the West is going to also very righteously argue that they're just unifying the planet because it's space age. But both sides are going to be deciding which side is right. Whether it is preferable to do this through what in the alt science is called the STO or the STS self, or the service to self, or the service to others self. STO, STS. Whether we do this as a community defined by one or the other. Are we first independent and then serve a community, or are we first servants of a community and then independent? That is the question, because now we know that we will be a community. Everybody will know everything about everybody and so on and so forth. That is why disintegrating the nuclear conflict is a little unlikely. It requires military force from an outside perspective to throw a country into open revolt. In a country with no outside threat, military will, let's say, arbitrate the conflict. That is what happens when there is no outside military threat. Better men than me will decide what we follow next. But I will follow what I feel like. And up next, I will probably make either Crusader Kings 3 or Power and Revolutions Finland. We'll see.